Robert Garcia, thank you for being here, Congressman. Never in my life, when I got into this work, did I think that the question I would have for a congressman, who I respect as much as you, is did one of these emails say that Donald Trump blew Bubba? And what and who is Bubba? And how did you deal with this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this release of 23,000 documents has been wild, and this one in particular is very bizarre. We're not exactly sure who the reference is to. It could be a joke, it could be something more, but there's a lot of questions that these emails bring, and I think that's one that's been pretty interesting.
Well, and it's not just, who is it, what is it, et cetera. It's that they're saying, does Vladimir Putin have some involvement in whatever this joke is? There's some sort of inside joke, if that's what it is, spinning around between Jeffrey Epstein and Vladimir Putin about Donald Trump. That's very concerning.
Yes, and I think obviously there's some stuff in this in these releases that are it's quite a little lighthearted, and that one in particular, like, is it a joke? Is it more? It's anytime that Putin is involved and Epstein, I think it's concerning as well. But look, all of these documents raise so many questions, and many of them really, really disturbing.
Yeah.
I think it just sheds more light on what the relationship was between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump is clearly leading a White House cover up here. There is a massive cover up going on at the White House and at the Department of Justice, and Republicans are complicit in the House. And it's time for this case to be solved, for there to be justice for the survivors, and to release all the files.
And the way that we're getting these emails is not even coming through the Department of Justice, right? I understand they're coming from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. His brother Mark is cooperating with y'all to give the information that we've gotten so far, right?
We have a subpoena out at the Department of Justice, which has actually all the documents that we need. Then we have an additional subpoena that we've been forcing. I mean, Democrats have worked really hard to get these. We got a subpoena through to the Epstein estate, mm-hmm. which is basically the organization that's been giving us these documents. Now, mm-hmm. these documents may or may not be in the full files that the Department of Justice has, but it pales into comparison to what the DOJ actually has. So they have they have financial records, they have information about who was involved in trafficking, who were the men, the powerful men that were involved in the rape and abuse of girls and women. Mm. They have pictures, they have possibly videos. And so that's the information that we need. We're grateful that the Epstein estate is working with us and getting us these files and these emails, which have been very important and revealing. But the DOJ has to do their job and follow the subpoena that we put in place and get us the files.
Why don't they want to give them to you?
Well, because they're clearly hiding something. I mean, right. Look at Donald Trump's behavior in the last week. I mean, he was obsessed. Him, JD Vance, they've been obsessed with getting the files released. I mean, the whole MAGAverse is like their thing during the campaign. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, you become president. Pam Bondi tells you you're in the files. You obviously maybe you take a look at them. Who knows what happened? And now you have a complete reversal of your position. Mm. I mean, give me a break. And now, leading up to this important vote that we just had to get the full files released to the whole Congress. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump is bringing in Lauren Boebert to the Situation Room.
I know, that was disgraceful.
It's crazy. And all arrows and signs point back to the White House.
Mm-hmm. It's telling to me also of his character that the people he targeted were Lauren Boebert, who's a domestic violence survivor, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, also a survivor. This is a person who continues to prey on folks that he sees as potentially he can overcome them. And there's lots of Republicans on here. He didn't go after any of the men to ask them to change their votes or to do whatever. And I just think it's such a sickness. In addition to this, we're seeing, besides just the Trump parts of this, many parts of MAGA sphere and Trumpism are in these emails directly with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, if it's not Steve Bannon coordinating with him, it's other people who were involved at Mar-a-Lago and in Palm Beach Society and in New York. Will there be accountability for other folks involved in this? I mean, I guess Trump says today that that the Epstein files are both a hoax and we need to go after Larry Summers and Bill Clinton and all these other people. Is it a hoax or is it worth going after everybody? I mean, he has to decide, right?
I mean, that was the crazy part about that statement. Like in one sentence, he's calling it a hoax, and in another, he's launching an additional investigation. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all a joke to him. And I think clearly our focus is on the truth and the survivors. I just spoke to a survivor. I mean, I've been trying to talk to as many of the survivors as possible. I spoke to one yesterday. It's just, I mean, the stories are really hard. And I think that in all of this discussion about the Epstein files, we should always remember to center the women, and at the time, many of them children,
Yeah.
that were raped, abused, trafficked by powerful men who right now are walking free. And so we
And
should
in
be
the cabinet in
driven.
some cases. Yeah.
That's right. We need to be driven by justice, and we need to be driven by accountability.
Mhm.
And right now, the idea that all of these men, whoever they are, and I've said, like, I don't give a fuck if they're Republicans,
I don't care.
Democrats, what position they were in, how powerful they are, how much money they have. People are like, oh, are you worried that there's a Democrat? I don't care. I don't care. If you've caused harm to children,
Mhm.
you need to be exposed. There needs to be justice put in place here. And I think that's what's really what drives us, is like that's what's really important at this moment. And us that are in the progressive space need to push and be ready. This is not about a protecting anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
who cares? We've got to go after anyone that caused harm to these women and girls.
And folks who are like, oh, well, why haven't they done it in all this time? I really do see this as a generational switch, right? There's a lot of folks who maybe were worried about their donors or were sort of concerned that are in the older sort of guard of both parties. And like with millennials coming into power, if we're in the files, we were probably victims. So it's like this is the time to sort of take accountability for all of the generational harm that's been done through this like seedy cloud of what turns out to actually be the deep state. Won't it be crazy if what takes Donald Trump out is a child sex ring and emails, something he tried to blame Hillary Clinton for that he is so decidedly wrapped up in now?
And I'll tell you, as a new member of Congress, obviously I'm still a sophomore.
Yeah.
One thing that's been clear to me is, and people have asked me, well, why didn't the Biden DOJ release it? And my response is, yes. Why didn't
Right.
the
Yeah.
Biden DOJ release more? I mean, I have a lot of questions for Merrick Garland.
Yeah.
I respect that President Biden separated, rightly so, the work of the DOJ and did not direct the DOJ to do X, Y, or Z. So he wasn't directly involved
Mhm.
in the Epstein files case at the DOJ. But why were we ever at any point protecting people or not making these files available to the public?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I think that this is you're absolutely right. It is a generational thing, and I think it's time for us who want justice, our fighters, understand the stakes,
Mhm.
to push and get these files released.
I really do think that the heart of our country is wrapped up in this. And what I see online is not necessarily the partisanness. Folks from the far right, from the far left, and everywhere in between are like, this is just about resetting what is American decency and do we still have any? If we could release these files, if we can get accountability for people, then we have a chance at maintaining our decency. If we can't, then what are we even doing here? How could we ever, project ourselves to be fair to anyone else? So with everything that's come out so far, and a lot's come out, there has to be more coming. Is there anything that you know is like coming up that people can kind of look out for? Are we going to see this reach even further into the Supreme Court, into other areas of the private sector? Like what's coming next?
Look, I think one thing is, I mean, there's a few things happening. One is obviously we're trying to collect as many documents as possible, and so there will be more documents from the Epstein estate. And so when they arrive and what exactly it looks like, we don't know yet, but that's coming. So there is more to come. In addition to that, we know that we're going to have a lot of testimony from survivors. So we've been talking to a lot of survivors and encouraging them to share their stories if they want to and if they're comfortable doing so. And I just I'm telling the public and folks that are following this is, please know that this is a very hard moment for them. And I see a lot of chatter online like, oh, they should release their list or they should come out. These people have survived the most horrific things that could happen to someone. Many of them are now living a life with a new family, or they're in another part of the country, and they're trying to move on.
Mm.
And on the other side of this story and this trauma is some of the most powerful men in the world.
Mm.
And I think people need to really understand what that feels like for someone.
Mm.
And so I think we just got to give these survivors a space to do what they want to do.
Right.
And then we've got to do our work as best we can to navigate that and to support them at the same time. And I think that's really important.
Will Congress be questioning Michael Wolff any further about the information that in the tapes that he holds? Is there any opportunity to try and like extract from him?
We have been in communication with Michael Wolff on the committee side, and so that is ongoing. And then, obviously, he has a lot of information. We'd like access to all that information, and so we have been communicating with him.
That's good to hear. Congressman Garcia, you are doing such incredible work. And like you said, you're a sophomore congressman. This is like Newski guy up there being brave as hell and getting this shit out there. So we appreciate it. You and Summer Lee, also from this committee, have done just so much. And you've constantly, centered the victims and made sure that they're safe. And I'm so grateful on behalf of them that you're doing that for them. So thank you for sharing
Absolutely.
with us. Anything else we need to know before we go?
Just keep up the fight and keep up the pressure because we got to get solved this case and we got to get justice for the survivors.
Absolutely. Thank you, Congressman. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.